guys. But this one right here, we didn't got GR1ZZY, Stickz, Prophecies, got Stickz, GR1ZZY, Prophecies. Mainly with this one right here and GR1ZZY, coming into the whole, to the whole thing with Stickz. And just with the whole Prophecies, especially with this whole thing right here, especially with them two stepping in, you got the twinning stepping in, and then them having their whole Prophecies, that makes it more of a little thing, of a little channelist thing. But you got GR1ZZY, Stickz, Prophecies, mainly with this whole thing and their whole thing, especially them being some, some stand-up presence, like they just stand-up presence and all this other stuff with Stickz and GR1ZZY, and just mainly with this main one, and especially with everything else, coming into it, like you got the main ones, off of these ones, Privacies and all these other real quotes.
Swing that around like Venus, take man out of the world like Venus. I break bread with the bros like Jesus. Still tryna turn them kush, pull up and whoosh with the local cleaners. 4 man in the car, in between us.
Ooh, 4 men in a car in between us. That's Jesus. Hey, the whole thing, like how you see it and how everything else comes into it, like juice. And then they got the grapes too, like they didn't loafing over there, like they really have the whole thing, like they really enjoying it. Everything else too, like and then everything else is set up too, like the tables and stuff. So that makes it a little bit of interesting, what's really going on here, like with the whole thing. But with the whole thing and everything else, just from the beginning and the whole Prophecies, like the whole thing and the main Phoenix.
Jesus, just take my advice when I tell you the south side nothing ain't nice. Gunman don't think twice, but body on a stick like Jesus Christ. I don't watch on pre-man's life, and these fops can't see man twice. Flick shank got 3 of them slice, get dealt with bleach, clean that knife. Rough rider, hitting that type, you don't wanna see me on the back of the bike. That's this. The shotgun hitting like Mike when I make man lean, it come with a Sprite. I ain't get my rep on mic, so I was filling the clip with Mike and Ike's. I let the clean that night. Rough rider, hitting that type, you don't wanna see me on the back of the bike. That's this. The shotgun hitting like Mike when I make man lean, it come with a Sprite. I ain't get my rep on mic, so I was filling the clip with Mike and Ike's. I let the typers type until it's a serious thing like Sykes. Swing that around.
Hey, too, this is serious. Like, hey, like they say, we just don't, committed fakes into the all that other stuff until it really gets. Until it turns into a Prophecies, like then you really gotta, take a score, take a voltage to it. You gotta take advantage of it, and that's when you go for your shot. You just, but all this other stuff is like, you don't really feed into it until it's that. You feel like it's that temporary time coming into it, and with this whole thing, like he said, and everything else, like. And just with the whole thing, like, just from them and everywhere else where they shot it at too, it just makes it so other devastated, especially where they shot it at too, because it's just so much, different things going on, especially the things that a lot of these guys put, like, towards their stuff, like, they be, especially just with the nemesis.
Like Venus, take man out of the world like Venus. I break bread with the bros like Jesus. Still tryna turn them kush, pull up and whoosh with the local. I break bread with the bros like Jesus. Still tryna turn them kush, pull up and whoosh with the local cleaners. 4 man in the car, in between us. Jesus. I can tell about guns and roses. Step with a stick like Moses. I'm able, like Abel. I can give him that cane for the noses. Lights and action, no cameras. I can tell you about showbiz. I was in the OT spot hoping that I don't get noticed. Run overnight, I had to practice, tryna make profit like John the Baptist. Tryna get bread with my brethren, gotta go ham, I want a sandwich. Up top top of the Brixton shooters might see me with a cannon like Gooners. I don't wanna hear no rumors, how many up boys turning to Judas. Swing that around like Venus, take man out of the world like Venus.
Ooh, and the whole thing, hey, like they say, you know, with the just the main thing coming into it, he said, hey, you know, even even poured up, turned into Judas, like, hey, he got turned into hey, another man just got turned into the whole thing. Like, hey, it can get real decent on this, like real decent on this, like the way it just goes and the way everything else floats in, like it just goes both ways. That shows you that it goes both ways, like you know, no matter what you do, it can go any ways, like just with the whole thing, like especially with everything else, you know, coming into it, especially with all these the main lyrics now, like main lyrics you hear nowadays is just, you know, you hear different lyrics here, different genres, and it's, you got the whole thing just propped is.
Take man out of the world like Venus. I break bread with the bros like Jesus. Still tryna turn them kush. Flip and whoosh with the local cleaners. 4 man in the car in between us. Jesus. Swing that around like Venus. Take man out of the world like Venus. I break bread with the bros like Jesus. Still tryna turn them kush. Flip and whoosh with the local cleaners. 4 man in the car in between us. Jesus. Swing that around like Venus. Take man out of the world like Venus. I break bread with the bros like Jesus. Still tryna turn them kush. Flip and whoosh with the local cleaners. 4 man in the car in between us. Jesus.
Oosh, hey, I give this one 9 out of 10, because you know a lot of these ones crazy. A lot of these ones be crazy, like the whole thing, like the way they was putting the whole thing and everything else. Like I see how I see it. Like it was crazy to just see this whole thing, you know, just with Stickz and Grizzy and the whole thing, like just with the whole thing coming into it, and especially, you know, how they had to break breads, like they was breaking breads too on the tables, and they had all that stuff going on. So they just had a whole thing, but just with this one coming into it right here and everything else, like, hey, I've been doing this for a while and stuff like that too, you know, these reactions and stuff, and you know, it just comes in handies like that, like all this other stuff, especially with all these other things, because you know, I be putting in so much work too, you know, with these reactions. So it's like, you know, I be trying to maintain, try to give y'all reactions like sometimes and stuff, sometimes here and there, but you know, hey, sometimes it do be difficult though to get you guys some videos every day, like what I'm trying to do. But hey, with everything else coming into it, you guys in tune into this. Make sure you guys tune into this whole thing.